I'm still kind of playing around with the time that I start with the readings. And this evening, my roommate had off from work, and she doesn't wake up until later. And so we went out for ice cream. Today I'm going to be reading for the earth signs. The earth signs. And the earth signs, of course, earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And I will be using the Man's Tarot. I really enjoy using this deck. Hi, Jared. Thank you for coming. It's very good to see you. And thank you to Clark Smith Adventures. I don't know if you're here right now, but I feel your presence. Thank you. So let's start shuffling the deck. And we're going to start with the sign of Taurus. So, Taurus, if you have a reason that you've come here for a reading tonight, I invite you to set your intention at this time. I invite you to just kind of relax and allow all kinds of thoughts and ideas to float through your head in reference to this intention that you've set and the things going on around you at this time, around you, surrounding you, the people, places, and things that are part of your life, different circumstances and situations. Are things moving fast? Are things moving slow? Are you more aware of the passage of time now, Taurus, than at other times in the past? Are you feeling anticipation? What is going on with you this week, Taurus? And would you like to share it with the class? All right, so which cards am I going to take? These ones, how many? That's a lot, but okay. I'm going to tell a story. And take these 5. All right. So let me mark down the timestamp. RUS Taurus. 5 minutes. 5 minutes into the video. There's a distorted sense of self at this time. So we have the Three of Mirrors coming out. And just like when you're standing there in the dressing room at TJ Maxx and it's swimsuit season, and you are trying to pick out the one that you hate the least on your own body. Five of Mirrors. I apologize. You're completely surrounded by mirrors, as a matter of fact. There's some things going on around acceptance of self-image at this time, Taurus. And this would be something hard won. This could be that you often have felt in the past that your idealized and internal version of what you're presenting does not line up with the external presentation. We have a few different reputations that you might have cycled through. We've got the Queen of Strays, the Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups, maybe giving too much of oneself and kind of taking in too many people under your wing. And you did this perhaps because the idealized version of yourself in your head, you wanted these people to like you. You wanted to have all these really cool friends and stuff, which is good to have. But you're going to be walking away from all of these things now, and for the better, really. The Eight of Cups, we are moving on to better things. We're not quite sure what that looks like yet, but I do see a departure from that. And moving into this energy of the Albright. The Albright is an omnipotent demiurge, a creative energy, definitely divine source personified. We have here this Four of Cups reversed. So it could be that now that you have this great power, you also have a few options as to how you want to interact with other people. So we have some potentials here. One of which is the High Priestess, being very secretive, keeping a lot of things about yourself hidden from others, Taurus, and kind of being aloof and off to oneself. We have Payman, who can be a granter of wishes. Overall, I think it's a very bad reputation among the Goetia. Demons are not necessarily right or wrong in the greater scheme of things. I have a little bit of trouble with the Payman card because I think it came from a deck about the demons. And so I'm not sure if it aligns with any of the suits, or if I'm just to be reading that demon's energy in the situation. Maybe it's a decision to become a little darker, to subvert others' expectations of you in some way. They're also calling Payman King of Subjugation. So perhaps scaring people a little bit, and that keeps them in line. We also have the Page of Curses here, and this is reversed. So, Page of Curses would be communication, and so potentially could be somewhat like the Page of Swords. So, we're talking about control of information here in regards to this Four of Cups, and I think we're talking about it in a couple of different ways. Page of Curses would be controlling what information is known. The High Priestess would be keeping pretty much everything a secret. And just like we had this Queen of Cups showing up in the reverse in the past, previously maybe you were more of an open book. Queen of Cups can keep her own emotional needs hidden, but sometimes will share other details as a way of connecting to others. And I do have my window open because it's really nice outside. So I hope that the noises coming into the room are not too loud. There is some activity going on out in the alleyway. We have the Capuchin coming out. So this is from one of the Itala style decks, which are slightly different from the Major Arcana. This would be similar in some ways to the Hermit in dress. But actually, when you're looking at this card in the context of the deck, the meaning is pretty different because in the upright, it says traitor. Let me just make sure that because I don't speak French. But it is traitor. I just wanted to make sure before I go off on a big description. In the upright, it's about traitorous behavior. In the reverse, it's about false devotion. So, oh, it's cold there already. It's very nice here, actually. I like it. I like the weather right now. Let me pull some more cards, or let me look at the next cards and see kind of what's going on. So we have the Two of Cups, which is a relationship card, and we have one of the Death cards here, and they're both showing up reversed. So there's going to be potentially a change in regards to a relationship. It might even be a relationship that needs to end because of maybe not necessarily even traitorous behavior. Sometimes what that looks like is just that two people continuing to be together is going to create too many compromises for both of them. And so there's a lack of loyalty to one's sense of self if you're not going to then follow that path. So the traitorous behavior is really to the sense of self. And it looks like Taurus, because you've gone through a lot of changes and left a lot of things behind. And you're moving into a new exalted energy that there might be personal relationships, very close ones even, that become too difficult to reconcile. We have the Builder here. This is a little bit like the Magician. And the Builder, I find this picture incredibly hard to parse. It's, like one of those pictures, name one thing in this photograph. But basically it's like a primordial ooze, right? Such that, oh, well, I'm glad to hear it resonates, Clark Smith Adventures. So there's a creative force behind it. There's an establishing force also in this particular card. The builder has to build upon a strong foundation or the building will crumble. So one thing about being a builder is knowing the code, knowing regulations, knowing what's going to be structurally sound. And that's what we see showing up here. There's time to take action on something. We've got Hanged Man in reverse. So sometimes this is like hurry up and wait type energy. But in this particular case, I take that it's time for you to start working on this particular project, that you've waited a long time to do this. We have the Queen of Swords coming out with this as well. So retiring that passive energy in favor of a more active energy, air elemental energy. And speaking one's truth. So the Queen of Swords is all about that expression of these things to the outside. You're not going to be keeping yourself smaller so that you can remain in another person's company. You're going to be much more truthful to yourself. And that's going to open up many more options for you. So we have the Seven of Cups now coming out. And in the upright, La Pensée. Occasionally, I like to check and make sure. So, thought. Also, the options being the brainstorm that you have going on. And that is here with the builder. So, we're brainstorming these ideas. Which ones are the ones that are best for me? And starting to put that into practice. And that is going to bring some things to an end for you. Now, this is going to look like, there are going to be parts of this that look like a reversal of fortune. But this Wheel of Fortune in the reverse is sandwiched between the Eight of Weenies and the Ten of Cups upright. The Eight of Wands here is an ending to something, but I also call it the weenie roast card because it looks like this person down here is having a weenie roast. Ten of Cups also is going to be emotional fulfillment. So overall, it's going to be a positive outcome, but there are going to be things that look like a reversal of fortune. And we do have the Devil coming out reversed. So there can be, let me pull this to the side because the Devil showing up is about those things that control us. It can be illness, it can be addiction, it can be compulsion. I think in this case, you might be leaving something like that behind. And especially where you're going through all of these really positive life changes here. So part of this is going to be the Queen of Wands arriving at the ball in her sparkling chariot. We've had 3 queens coming out in your reading already. Overwhelmingly good reading for you this week, Taurus. And I do have yet a few more cards. Now, this victory, we do have the time machine coming out in the reverse. So the time machine and the chariot are very similar cards. Probably in some decks, this would be the chariot. And the fact that it's coming out in the reverse alongside the chariot indicates to me that there is a temporal element over which you will not have control. So that there are going to be potentially things about this that are time sensitive. The Queen of Wands, this is, I think, what you are trying to get to, and you will get there, Taurus. Queen of Wands is a very charming energy, a very winsome energy. And where we were seeing before that you were doing things because you wanted people to like you. People love the Queen of Wands. She doesn't have to do anything for them. She just shows up and everybody has a good time. And I think, Taurus, you're going to start recognizing that in yourself very soon. We have another death reversed. So we have this death reversed. We have a Knight of Swords, and then we have a Judgment that are both coming out upright. So the way that I'm reading this is that the Death card is coming out reversed because this is not going to be a transformation. This is more like an evolution. You have cut out the things that are no longer serving you, the things that are taking part in your life in ways that you don't like. You're getting rid of those things, and it's helping you to ascend to the next level with this Judgment card here. And that concludes your reading for this week, Taurus. That was a good reading. That was pretty good. So now I'm going to move on to the sign of Virgo. Virgo. And then after this live stream is concluded, I'm going to go over to the members side of the channel and do some crystal scrying with this piece of Icelandic spar. All right. So, Virgo, how are you? How have you been? Have you been well? Have you watched any good movies lately? Have you been enjoying your time here? Are there any things that have been difficult to deal with recently? How are you feeling? Do you feel successful? Do you feel nostalgic? Are you feeling pensive? You can shake your shoulders, kind of shake it off. Any of those pensive energies. Just kind of shake it off. And I'm just going to finish shuffling the cards. So if you have an intention that you've brought to the reading here today, I invite you to set that intention at this time while I finish putting the cards all together. And just kind of relax, sit back, let some free association take place. I got some new speakers, but you can't see them. They're in the background. But I still use my earbuds. All right, Virgo. Call it. Call it there for the timestamp. This way. I'm going to go like... Oh, cat's outside, huh? I bet. Always outside, huh? I don't know you. He ain't here. All right. So we do have one of your cards. Oh, did you enjoy that series? I used to enjoy true crime a lot, but now I only consume it on occasion. One of my favorite, though, is The Jinx. Liked that one a lot. Yeah, when they go into like how he was able to keep operating and everything about the families and stuff like that. I haven't watched it. I just know there was a lot involved in that situation. So Virgo, the Magician is one of your cards in the major arcana sometimes. And this is one of those times. Mercury is the ruling planet of this card, and therefore Gemini and Virgo can both be associated with the Magician. There is manifestation, excuse me, my nose is itchy, going on for you, going on around you. I say it passively, but you know that this is manifestation that you are putting into practice. So it's not like it's random and accidental and something that just happens to you. It's something that you've put a lot of work into. Or could be waiting for news, waiting for written information to come in. We have the Judgment card and the Ten of Eyes coming through. So if the Judgment card had come through by itself, I would say we would be looking at a situation where you're about to ascend to a new plane. And that might be the case, but I also see a lot of observation around you right now. This Ten of Eyes, this particular version of the Judgment card, we've got all these people kind of like underwater here. And the people in the boat, seeing them through the waves. I think there's a story about that, but I'm not super familiar. So if you know more about that story, please do let me know in the comments or in the chat. But because we see this as observation, then I'm seeing this judgment as people observing you and giving you a score about it. And this could be something that you're waiting for this news back about. It could be getting into a college. It could be a loan. It could be a credit card application. It could be a job application. But most likely it would be something that you would receive news about it by mail. We have day coming out reversed again. This rune card likes to come out reversed. So we're talking about day, awakening, illumination, and hope. Where this card is reversed, you're kind of like waiting out a long night. And in fact, this card is very dark. And while this card of the Ten of Eyes does have a luminary on it, we're not really given a lot of information about what kind of light source it is. You are observed a lot at this time, Virgo. But you might not be perceptive when it comes to who is observing you. You might be going through kind of a period where you're waiting for the daylight to come back. We also have 10 of attention. So down at the bottom of this 10 of eyes, it says Sun in Gemini, which leads me to believe that this is an analog for the 10 of Swords, because that would be the air sign card. Doesn't have to be, of course. I would put the eyes probably in their own kind of a category. But we also have this card about being canceled, the 10 of attention, 10 of notifications. So again, all of this surveillance, all of this people being very aware of you and what you are doing, and you being kind of oblivious to it. So this letter might be like, get a clue, get a sign also. There's this emotional renewal coming in then after these endings. All of these 10s and the judgment too, really. All of these represent coming to the end of a cycle. So this new cycle is going to be a time of emotional renewal. This is like the Ace of Cups. It's called the Fountain in this particular deck. But not a transformation on your part. So we have another death card coming out reversed like this. We have King of Swords coming out reversed. I've been seeing the King of Swords quite a bit, mostly in the upright. When the King of Swords comes out reversed like that, it can be red tape and bureaucracy used to disadvantage people. It can be like an analog for the Justice card, and so in the reverse, it can be justice deferred. But there will be eventual victory, because we do have, this is called the Battle, but it would be like the Chariot card. So there's mobility and victory associated with that. But there's this kind of This is kind of like change not coming, institutional injustices being allowed to perpetuate, I guess. I just noticed too the faces in the grass on this card. That's kind of cool. That's a neat effect. And they have hands that are kind of reaching up, but there's like a disembodied hand and a disembodied foot there. That's so cool. We have this Ace of Wands candle card coming out reversed as well. That if you are not, it's like surrendering, because we have it coming out with the infinite power card. This is kind of like source energy. If you're not channeling that source energy and you're allowing these institutional injustices to get the better of you, let me look at this a little bit. It's like you feel kind of beaten down by it. We have the Three of Swords. That's heartache. And then we have the Eight of Swords coming out reversed. So I think you're trying to free yourself from this situation. But sometimes you feel a bit powerless about it. But you have to know that you will be victorious in that situation. And it's because you are holding out hope and you have this a new emotional cycle beginning for you. Just to update, we are on the sign of Virgo. And that is reinforced by the Five of Swords coming out upright. You will be victorious, so you have to be ready to fight for it to some extent. But you're in the right, and you should fight for it. Next, we have the Horizon. And this card, kind of doesn't exactly have a direction. In this direction could be dawn or dusk. It's kind of a softer light than we have this way. So perhaps this way we see the horizon as a point of perspective, an expanse, a point of reference, and not something so distant and far away that we become discouraged by it. We have the hawk moth and the tower coming out reversed. This could be a change that you would benefit from implementing, even if it's a destructive change. The hawk moth is like that death's head moth. You can kind of see there that it's got like a skull on its back, right? If you remember from Silence of the Lambs. A lot of these transformational cards reversed. We do have the High Priestess here in the upright. So you likely, Virgo, you already have all the answers that you need in this situation. But we have these things stacking up here of like this very imminent transformation. I feel like a very fecund, a very gravid, like overly pregnant energy with this. But that doesn't necessarily have to do with childbirth. It can be related to other things too. Remember that we started this reading off for you, Virgo, with the Magician. So we know that you're in the process of manifesting something. Queen of Ravens is coming out reversed. Always, 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 always pay attention to what the crows have to say. There could be a warning there. And because the card is reversed, it could be a warning that is not being well heeded. We have a couple of 8s coming out. The 8 of Pentacles and the 8 of Tentacles are coming out together. And so the fact that they rhyme might be significant to some of you. 8 of Pentacles would be like going to work, doing the job. And I'm kind of like hearing another line from Silence of the Lambs in my head of, it puts the lotion in the basket or it gets the hose again. Are you going to get the pentacles or are you going to get the tentacles? Both of these cards are upright. Maybe they're linked. Maybe there are things tied up in that pentacle situation. And we got another death card in the reverse. All these death cards in the reverse. There's a lot of resistance to change in the readings at this time, it seems like, Virgo. Maybe you have the most. Maybe I just haven't been keeping track. We've got lightning in a bottle, Deus Ex Machina coming through to take care of all of these death and tower cards in the reverse for you. And we've got the Page of Pentacles reversed, the Page of Cups upright. And between those two cards is the Wild Hunt. So the Wild Hunt is a phantasmagorical event in which a ghostly hunting party traverses the clouds looking for souls to reap, looking for their long lost decapitated body parts. Who knows what they're hunting? Maybe even a spectral boar. But there's something like that going on at this time. Maybe you are the thing being hunted. Maybe you are the one doing the hunting. Although I think in this case, Virgo, because of some of the other cards that have come out, are you going to get the pentacles or the tentacles? And all of these death cards reversed, death in the tower, all these things reversed. You may very well be the subject of this hunt. Because we have that Page of Cups coming out in the upright, Page of Pentacles in the reverse. So this is going to be an offer, but it's probably not going to be a financial offer. Or you might want to hold out and see if there is money available in that situation as well. This Page of Pentacles has been coming out reversed a lot. The Page of Cups can also have elements of passion tied up in it. So it could also be saying that you will be getting an offer But the thing that's important about it is that you're passionate about it and not the money aspect of it or the resources. There's going to be a hunt for resources with this offer. That part is kind of confusing. So, lightning in the bottle, this is kind of like Deus Ex Machina, but I'm going to pull some clarifiers about the Page of Pentacles reversed, and I'm going to pull them from the Stranger and Stranger deck by Dan and Dave instead of the Alley Man's Tarot. All right. What do I need to know about this Page of Pentacles? Why is it reversed? What's the deal with that for the Virgos this week? I'll just pull the top three. Okay. So we've got a couple of threes. This is the heartache three in this particular deck, even though it's the three of hearts. Three of spades is kind of like having tricks up your sleeve, or somebody having tricks up their sleeve. There's subterfuge. Suspicious Minds by Elvis Presley. And then we have the King of Wands. So people see you as this creative powerhouse, possibly. You could be somebody who leads by charisma and charm also. And so they're more than happy to offer you this lightning in a bottle, but not everybody can afford a king, right? So they're coming to you with these things that they have. Maybe they don't have any pentacles. Maybe they only have tentacles. Also, that the king on this King of Wands is somebody who is shaking down a leprechaun, assuming for the pot of gold. So there's a lot of energy here of potentially yeah, let me just go ahead and shuffle those back in. Make sure you read all your contracts, because people are going to try to get more out of you perhaps than what you are really trying to put into a situation. That Page of Cups, there might be emotional labor tied up in the situation as well. So that is going to conclude the Virgo reading for this week. And now I'm going to go on to the sign of Capricorn. And a reminder that I do, after the general tarot videos, I go over to the member side of the channel and I do crystal scrying, and then I also read for the channel members as part of the membership. If that interests you, you're cordially invited. But of course, all of you, whether you just watch, like, share, subscribe, ring the little bell, you guys know the drill. All of those things that you do are so greatly appreciated. Oh, thank you, Clark Smith Adventures. Yeah, that was a journey for sure. That's what I love about this deck. The Alley Man's Tarot, there's really a lot there to work with. So now I'm going to read for Capricorn. Capricorn, how have you been? Have you been well? Have you been hale? Have you been stiff? Have you been stale? Did they remember to pick up chips from the store when you asked them for salsa? Is there a DoorDash on its way to you right now? How has life been faring? So if you, Capricorn, have set an intention for this reading, or if you came to this reading tonight with a certain intention, I invite you to focus on that now as I shuffle the cards. And then I will select some cards, especially for you, Capricorn, and we can begin with your reading. And it will just take a moment. I like to make sure that the cards are thoroughly blended between. I feel like it is a way of kind of imbuing the energy of your intention into the cards. Oh, hi, Kara. We're on the sign of Capricorn. I'm so glad that you're here too. Thank you for coming. All right, so these cards right off the top. Some cards from here. Some cards from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. Mix up the cards again. What's your favorite birthday, Capricorn, that you've ever had? I know that we're getting to Libra season now. It's never too early to think about your own birthday. Ten of Swords. So, the theme of this reading is going to be endings. An ending to a cycle. It could be a painful ending. It could be an ending that has needed to happen. You are not disappointed, but you're also not ready for the strings to be cut just yet. You'd be more than content to keep hanging around the way that you have been. We have the Hermit reversed. So there's a willful ignorance here as well. And perhaps a seeking of comfort in the company of others, even if those people are not necessarily your good friends. Kind of forcing yourself to be in the public eye, perhaps. Look how not disappointed I am about everything. Aren't I so brave? Why, yes, you are, Capricorn. We have the Five of Wands reversed. This Five of Wands, there's going to be an end to a rivalry, potentially here, too. that there was maybe even a creative collaboration there that has gone by the wayside. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. We have 2 5s reversed, one of them active, one of them passive. So whatever this ending is, because then 5 plus 5 being 10, we did have that 10 of swords coming out. It doesn't seem like you're playing a very active role in this ending, Capricorn. We did have this not wanting to necessarily free oneself. Look how brave I'm being. If you notice, these are young bucks practicing with each other. They're not trying to kill each other. They're friends. But they can also be rivals for space and for resources. We have the King of Swords coming out. Sometimes this is an analog for the Justice card. Could be a Libra as well. Very close to elemental air energy. This is somebody who is very evenly minded, able to see all sides of an argument, and to discern the best solution. So maybe you are staying disconnected in this particular situation. You could have air sign energy in your chart. King of Swords would be opposite elementally to Capricorn. But of course, you have a lot of different elements in your chart. So it's not going to be just one thing or another. We have the 9 of Sweeties coming out with the 2 of Pentacles. There's going to be wish fulfillment coming through with a partnership. And this could be a business partnership. It could be a balancing out of things also, because we have this King of Swords here. We have that 2 of Pentacles. And this is going to lead to some kind of wish fulfillment. There's a lady on the back of this card with the initials C and Z as well. She's hiding behind these candies. Somebody hiding behind their sweetness, hiding behind that wish fulfillment, potentially. And we have some specters of who you might have used to have been. We have the Wound Man showing up in the reverse. So, having been entirely blown to pieces. These are similar energies. He's cutting up those strings and he's getting all blasted to pieces. It's like you're done cutting off little bits of yourself in order to please other people, Capricorn. We have 10 of Pentacles, or 10 of Discs, maybe. So an abundance of material resources and a cycle coming to a close where your financial life is concerned. And that's going to be a progression beyond the 9 of Sweeties. We have the 2 of Wands. So now that this ending has come through, we have the resources available finally. The planning can begin. We have the Magician in the reverse coming out with the Queen upright. So the magician is an active manifestation. The queen is the passive receiving of this manifestation with the magician. And you can see with the magician, all of these like aspects of the spirit have come out. The queen is actually doing something very similar, right? But in the magician's case, we have this different parts of the psyche. And with the queen, we're literally dropping bombs. And each one of those bombs turning into a manifestation of something. But coming through passive receptivity and not through sending the parts of the psyche out of the body. Rather, that the mind has become fertilized and radicalized from without. And that is creating the force to move forward at this time. I hope that translated. I've been having some problems lately with, this card again. Ooh, all right. Oh yeah, this guy again. Okay, well, we got some things going on for you, Capricorn, at this time. Well, we have a death card coming out in the upright, and it's followed by justice reversed. And the alley man reversed as well. But let's talk about these two cards first. So on the back, you can see heavily into the skull imagery. The justice card in this case being shown as animalistic, whereas the death card is being associated with human-centered energies. And I point this out because a lot of times we think about death as something that encompasses all living things at that certain point. But we're looking specifically here at death as a human construct, and justice in the reverse being that wild, untamed energy coming in and creating that transformation from a wild and unregulated place. Like, more like things are not fair, not things are not designed to be fair. Being ripped apart by a wild animal who wouldn't know your name if you fed it every day for 20 years. So we do have that alley man coming out. He's coming out reversed, and he's coming out with this mystical, weird-ass shit. The alley man is the demiurge of this deck, the creator of the deck, the progenitor of its membership. And so for him to be coming out in the reverse like this, I think is reminding you that there's not some great cosmic guy in the sky trying to make things hard for you. It doesn't go that deep. You do have a great deal of control over these things in your own existence through extension of these energies, the weird-ass mystical shit. I believe this is from Solabuska, which is a deck that I have recently ordered, but I haven't received it yet. And I believe also there's more literature out here about this deck. So I need to do more research about that, certainly. But I will, in the meantime, read this card from my existing knowledge, because that's the best way to do it. So we have these shields that are being tempered in a fire, and in this fire we have a human sacrifice. It's a very intense card. A lot going on, a lot of emotion. Whew, get a little flustered every time this card comes out, but it is coming out in the reverse. It's not, none of these cards are bad, it's just hard to look at. And because this card is coming out in the reverse like this, it's a very heavy burden with all of these shields. That's a big process to go through. Oh, thank you, Kara. I love this deck too. It's really cool that it's got all kinds of different cards and it's not just the normal tarot lineup. There's like something that would need to be done. And it might be something very heinous indeed. And it might become a burden. And so that's why this card is coming out in the reverse, because you might be choosing not to take that path right now. The burden is on you. It's not on any higher power. Nobody is setting you up for this, basically. And we do have the Four of Wands coming out in this particular case. Two old women knitting this impossibly long scarf from two opposite ends. It's a foundation. So we're building a foundation for something. And that foundation could be a marriage, building the foundation of a family. It can be purchasing or building property. And that card is coming out in the upright. So to me, that represents either a celebration in the midst of all these things, celebrating a milestone, perhaps. It could be around this particular situation where there was a transformation because of this random happenstance thing that seemed very unjust. We have the mirror showing up in the reverse. When in the upright, it is reflecting the deepest parts of you as accurately as possible. When it's reversed, you're looking into a funhouse mirror that is anticipating your every flaw, amplifying your good points until they become cartoonish, a lack of self-awareness. I hope that describes it adequately. The next card that we have coming out is the Six of Pouncers, and here we have a couple of different kind of pouncers. We have these, which are used for absorbing lots of ink when you're writing with a nibbed pen. Those are called pouncers. We also have this guy pouncing on another gentleman and pushing him into this barrel. So a couple of different kinds of pouncers. We don't really know what the intentions are of these two people on the card. One of them is dressed a bit like a jester. He could have been caught up in some kind of mummery. And for those of you who watch my channel with frequency, you might remember that a while back I read this book about the stations of the sun in Britain and the holidays, the ancient holidays. And so I talked a bit about mummers at that time. Basically, that people would dress in costume and go around basically breaking into their neighbors' houses and drinking all their liquor and eating their best food. So it's entirely possible that this person here was caught up in such activities and is being taken to task by this other individual who, for whatever reason, has chosen to do so in the nude. Now, this card being reversed and it coming on the heels of this mirror card in the reverse, there's like a certain amount of paranoia. Am I smudging my ink? Is somebody about to creep up behind me? And it might be on account of some things that have happened around you. And trauma being that funhouse mirror. And finally, we have the last round before the coronation. So this is the defining moment as to whether or not this coronation will take place. It could be something that's been delayed for some time. It could be that you're finally qualified. We do have a lot of transformative cards here. We have you pulling back from certain things. We have you pushing forward in other areas. Really, in order to be an effective ruler, you have to answer to no one but yourself. So one thing that I saw come out somewhat in your reading is not wanting to be the one who's responsible. Wanting to be able to be told what to do in a situation so that it's not your responsibility what happens. Because then, of course, you are subject to the slings and arrows of those decisions. But in order for this partnership to not go the way of past partnerships and collaborations, there's going to have to be accountability on both sides. So that is going to conclude the Earth sign readings for this week. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me for the live stream tonight. I am going to go now over to the member side of the channel to do some crystal scrying and read for the members. And I am going to be working into the schedule some Q&A and some dream interpretation live streams, and those will also be general live streams available to everyone on YouTube. So look for that starting next week. I'm trying to work everything out together. But until we meet again, I look forward to seeing you very